about Caileigh, and Caileigh is now in, I mean, I am surprised to see the backgrounds, right? So Caileigh is in Costa Rica, and this is our next follow-up video with Caileigh, with our beauty. And she has been rocking the boat since we last time met. This was 3 months ago. And I mean, I just let her speak her truth. Now we wanted to inform people more about what actually, whatever she did to this point. She's in the food and a detox, I mean, generational healing. She heals with natural help. She uses diet, she uses food and herbs in order to heal. And she discovered something also what helped her a lot. She will talk a little bit about that. What we are very excited about is also to see how does this increase her ability to spiritually become more herself, to grow, to be strong, and speak up her own truth. So Caileigh, go ahead.
Nice Thank you so much. Thank you, Simone. Yeah, so we're here in Costa Rica, and my husband Brian and I just moved into our beautiful new home that we're renting for a year, and we're just like so excited to plant. We've got some banana trees over there. I've got a papaya tree, and I've got pineapples in the back. Really, this is like the result of like 3 years of consistent work and dedication and manifestation, and feels really good to have landed because we've been travelers. So my name's Caileigh. I'm a detox specialist. I'm also a Marconics quantum energy teacher and practitioner, and a raw food chef and a yoga instructor. And for the past 3 years, I've been leading retreats all over the world with my husband Brian, who is an amazing detox specialist and sound healer as well. And I most recently completed 144 days on juicing. I finished on January 1st, and I spoke to Simone. I think I spoke to you about 100 days into my juicing, and I was joking that like I would continue for maybe 100 more. So what happened is I went from Boston. It was very, very cold, and we went down to Costa Rica for starting on my birthday, December 10th, and we were there for, we've been there ever since. We did a brief trip to Mexico and a brief trip to the US, which I'll talk about as well. But around, the end of December, around Christmas time, my family was visiting Costa Rica, my parents, and we had an amazing time together. And they started to say to me, when are you going to start eating again? Like concerns, because who the heck does that long on juices? It's not really normal. It's just not. And, I was just taking it moment by moment, experiencing every day anew, every moment anew. And why I really kept going was because I felt like this deep inner calling of like, keep doing this. Like it wasn't like a logical thing. It wasn't something I'd seen before. And it also wasn't like a mental paradigm of like, you have to, it wasn't like my head telling my heart. It was really just my body. Like, I need this. And every day for those 144 days, I had like multiple eliminations from my bowels. Like I just was releasing a lot of old waste. And so I could see that I was doing a lot of good work. And if someone would have like told me this, that, oh, you'll keep releasing so much, even on juices, I would have been like, you're crazy. Where does it all come from? But I could see like when I was actually experiencing it, I was like, oh, that is what we're holding inside. That is the dis-ease that's keeping us trapped in like lower dimensional experience and keeping us stuck in thought patterns and emotional patterns that aren't for our highest and best. So, it was an amazing, amazing, epic experience. And I, towards the end of December, when my family was there, I was just really tuning into my body and thinking about what the next month would look like. And I was just feeling like it was time to start incorporating more food. I was becoming more active. Like I wanted to go explore more around town. And on the juices, I was walking a lot, but I wasn't doing intense exercise. I would occasionally do like a hot yoga class, but I just started to realize that, okay, my body needs a little bit more food if I'm going to go surfing or if I'm going to go do these other physical activities. And so around January 1st, I just started to experience hunger, and I hadn't felt that in like a really long time. I'm very satisfied on juices. I'm just someone who does really well with like very light juices, light fruits. Like I don't need much to feel really satisfied and energized and grounded, and which is a nice blessing. So the first meal back, I think I had like some tomatoes, maybe a little bit of avocado, just like really simple. That's pretty much how I always eat, like maybe one or two ingredients. And I ate so slowly, like I just like ate the tiniest little bites, and I felt like so euphoric, like so it was that feeling of grounded, when you have food, but it wasn't like feeling too heavy. I just felt really like it's like all my senses began to open up. I kind of felt like the last few days I was on juice, I felt more, I felt a little bit more anxiety arising in my body, and like a little bit that feeling of like jitteriness, which I hadn't felt too much during the juicing, but I was just like really ready to experience that what good nourishing food felt like. And yeah, I just felt really amazing. And then it was, an adjustment to, I couldn't eat very much at a time. It took me probably like, I think, so right now it's March 17th, right? So it's taken me probably till now to start to have like more, like a big smoothie and like at a time rather than like little sips and little bites. I've never been someone who can eat like a huge volume. That's just not like how my body feels the best. But I would say that like I can eat more volume now than I could in January 1st. So it's been a slow refeeding process. I've been really consistent. My body doesn't thrive with nuts and seeds. So I stick to high water content fruits. I stick to, if I want more grounding, like nourishing fruits, I'll have like bananas or papaya or mango. And then in the evening, I like to have a little bit of tomato and cucumber and avocado. That's like my favorite savory raw meal, and it's so satisfying. And then, we've got like a little moringa tree over there, so I might pick fresh moringa or get fresh basil or just like one or two little kinds of herbs to have with the savory meal. And that's like, it's so satisfying and enjoyable, and I feel like it can like my life's very much in balance now with all of these elements, kind of like more tuned in, because towards the end of the juicing I did feel like almost a little too like high stress. But for the most part I felt really, really good during it. But I just want to be honest about that and say that like I just started to kind of know, all right, you've done good, it's time to like go try some food, like create a really healthy relationship with food again. And yeah, I feel really proud of that. I feel like I've really created a healthy relationship with food, where I like know when I'm hungry, I listen to my body, I'm not overeating. And I mean, for someone who for years overate on vegan food because I wasn't like hydrated at a cellular level, I think a lot of our food, our cravings comes from lack of hydration and lack of connection and lack of satisfaction with our life. And so I was seeking satisfaction from like all this food and feeling really dehydrated. And that was in my early days vegan. I've been vegan now for almost 8 years. Well, actually 7.5, so not 8, but 7.5 years. And I found always that when I ate grains or cooked foods or all this other stuff, I just felt heavy. I just felt like not connected to my source, not connected to my heart, not connected to my breath. Like I couldn't breathe deeply. And so whereas when I eat fruits and juices and like these like foods filled with light codes, filled with information that my body understands, it's like, oh, this is who I am. We're unique aspects of God. I just feel like all of this awareness opens up to me. And so, that was really my choice point between raw and cooked, was like, do I want to feel like slightly dead, slightly numbed out, or really alive? And I understand that some people do really well with some cooked, and like everyone is in a unique place with their body and their constitution. And, that's really important to honor. Where I was at was just, so much dehydration that I really needed all of the hydration I could get from the fruits and the juices. And, I experimented a little bit with like a cashew nut dip when I was in Dallas, like this past 2 weeks ago. And I actually felt fine with it, which was exciting because I used to, every time I eat nuts, feel like a lot of inflammation come up in my body, like just itchy and, you know, little bumps on me in different places, but I actually felt like really, really fine. It's not something I want to have daily, to have like a lot of nuts and seeds, but because I do find they do slow digestion a little bit, but it was cool to see that, wow, I had done a lot of great work with the hydration. I wasn't getting any eczema flare-ups or skin flare-ups, anything like that. So it's been really cool to like get to know my body anew. And, you know, Simone and I were just talking about like building strength and strength in knowing my message and who I am, but also now I want to start building more physical strength, that I've done a lot of this, you know, juicing work. I want to, you know, begin moving my body more and rebuilding my muscles, and that will be a really fun phase as well to experience. So it really is amazing, because I was like in yoga class after the juicing and I was like, that's my leg, like that's my arm. Like I was feeling really like weak in my upper body, because my upper body's never been my stronger part. Like my legs are always been really strong. And so I'm like, wow, I really got a lot of work to do, but it's exciting. I feel like, you know, I have a lot more freedom. I have a lot more conscious creative ability than I did before. Before I was stuck in reaction mode, stuck in projection mode, stuck in like a lot of lower mental paradigms and negative emotional patterns. And I feel a lot more free from that. Of course, every day it's like going to bed early and speaking kind, loving words and being loving to myself. And all these things all play an important role. It's not like one fast and everything's perfect. Does require consistent weeding of our garden and loving and tending. And I love the metaphor of the garden, because it's like one of my mentors always says, he's like, if you plant a seed and then the next day dig it up to see like what's grown, there's not going to be anything there. So you have to keep taking care and tending to the garden over time. And it does take time for those spiritual fruits to blossom and grow. And that's really what I was cultivating through the fasting, was like patience and trust. And I had no conscious idea of what was going to happen. And I didn't even start to really know the benefits beyond just that I felt better in my body. Like at the end of my fast, I felt better. I felt like my body was more hydrated. I felt like I lost a lot of inflammation. I felt just, more clear and more connected. But because it was during the fast, it was like I started to notice the benefits more after the fast, if that makes sense. So like these 2.5 months since breaking the fast, now I'm like getting to know myself again. And I'm getting to like see what the results are of the fasting period. Whereas when I was in the fast, I couldn't quite see or know what was going to happen. So now I'm like, oh, okay, this is like the next evolution of me here. And it's just amazing how fast things can manifest, like this house. And we bought a car and those just appeared to us like day after day, one day and then the next day. And we didn't even consciously like try to create that. It just happens. We were just living in the flow in that moment. And then I also see that when I choose a lower emotion, when I react in an unkind way, how much that can spiral out and create drama and unkindness and just emotional clutter. So I can see, like, I see how powerful every aspect of our lives is and how much we need to govern and, manage all the parts of who we are. So a lot more spiritual awareness like than before, for sure.
Do you know what you are now, spiritually here for?
Oh, my mission? Well, I'm definitely here to tell my story. I'm definitely here to share with people that they can heal, and that by just following that small, kind, patient voice inside, that's where the miracles are. And, the place that we create from really is that 0 point, is that state of love, of just trust and acceptance. And it's kind of like, for me, whatever gets you to that place of 0 point where you can finally have the higher perspective and say, oh, okay, for me, I know that I'm here to transform a lot of the lower patterns in my genetic lineage, in my karmic lineage, in my family. I'm also here to create and do amazing healing work with my partner, and really anchor in that divine partnership template for others to embody as well, and to say, hey, well, how can you create a divine partnership? How do you water it? How do you care for it? And then of course, just like doing that with your own self, and really embodying that for others who are coming along the path. I can reflect back on my early days of detoxing and cleansing, and I really didn't have much faith that this would work. I had a deep knowing that it would, but I didn't have much conscious faith. It was just like, I knew it was what I needed to do, but I had no idea why. And I was on YouTube, I was on Google, like always asking questions, the mind way on overdrive. How does this work? Why does this work? There was like not much trust. And now that I have continued down the path and just decided to commit, I had to literally decide to commit to my healing, commit to this, and just see if it worked. And if it didn't, you can always choose a different path or go a different way. And you know, nowadays we're seeing all these YouTube videos of, I don't watch them, but you see that people are no longer vegan or no longer plant-based or no longer fruits. And there's all these mentalities out there. And it's so much about like clearing away mentalities, getting in touch with your body, and just being loving to yourself and allowing that love to guide you to what you actually need. Because we really generally don't know exactly what we need, but the universe will bring it to us. You know, what we really need is always what's actually serves us will be magnetized to us when we trust. And so I begin to see how easy and simple life can be, and how complicated and cluttered humans make it. And I have also seen how powerful our ability to create global shift is. Like on my juicing piece, I would notice articles that were like Earth, like scientific predictions of Earth's climate change, not actually so bad. Like Earth is like cleaning and healing. Like all these species are actually not extinct. It was like all these positive articles started to pop up out of the ethers, and I was like, wow, I feel like part of the work I'm doing literally is affecting change beyond what I could imagine and consciously conceive of. It was really cool to see. And then imagine if we're all doing that. And so I'm like you talked about before the call, or before you started the recording, it's like, yeah, there have been many moments on my journey where I'm like, it is tiring sometimes to be like breaking ground. But luckily there are other people who have somewhat come before. I mean, we have Dr. Morse and Arnold Ehret, and like real pioneers in the health field, and in the consciousness field as well. And then we have amazing people like Hildy Larson, who's also been on fruits for many years, and some other inspiring people in the community who have really like committed to this path and decided to show up fully. And they've really inspired me. And then, you know, it's really is about becoming your own inspiring person, like having yourself become that own inspiring figure, and saying like, oh, I can do this. Like, you know, I can commit to this. I can do this. And I think the slower you go, the more present you are, like the better results you're going to get. If we're pushing towards something, or like always in a state of separation, like operating in lack or in I want that or that dream life, I would never have thought this would be my life a few years ago. I didn't even have the energy to dream up this life at all. And I wouldn't even have known what would have made me happy. I was just so tired. So my adrenals and my nervous system were so burnt out. My skin was so uncomfortable. I had no idea like that this life was possible for me. And even if I was brought to this house or this jungle or Costa Rica at that stage, I wouldn't have been happy because I was uncomfortable within, you know? So I had to do all this clearing work. And now once we do a lot of that work, then we begin to have more of the heavenly experience around us, is what I've found. And it kind of, the external begins to fall into place a lot more easily. It's like our job is the internal garden, and the external, it's like you do have to pay attention to it a little bit, but it's not like as needing as much attention.
Oh, you're so beautiful. You're like a stardust, you know. So, what you have been saying, I hope people can, I mean, replay that and go slow through it because there's so much wisdom coming through it. I also agree there that when you start to clean yourself and get the relationship back, that you know who you are in real sense, then you have that ability to have a real conversation that makes sense in your life. And if you then also allow and be trusted to that guided way, then you will be just, I mean, thriving. And that's what I see with you. So thank you so much for sharing.
You're so sweet. Yeah, and my like definitely the number one tip for people is definitely just like deepening your breath and creating more silence and stillness in your life wherever you are, like having that sacred time. I mean, that's what I'm practicing right now. Just like daily stillness and silence and deep breathing into the heart is just so healing. Like you can feel a lot of energy move. Different times in my juicing, when I was doing heart breathing, I would feel like my heart chakra spinning and like really cool sensations that were like new to me. And when I look into my eyes in iridology, I just see like an area to strengthen is definitely like my heart. And that's what we're all here to do, is like live through this place and allow the mind to be the servant of our more divinely inspired desires. And so yeah, I really recommend heart breathing. Like that can't be said enough. And whatever it takes to get you guys to like lie down in Shavasana daily, just like completely surrender to the higher guidance. And I generally think we all know what we need to do. We just avoid it, and we avoid looking, and we avoid actually doing the work. And part of my journey, like earlier on, I was like in a state of reaction, kind of always trying to avoid like my destiny that I knew I was going to have to fulfill. It was like, I don't want to do that. Like, why did I sign up for this? Like, you know. And it's like I was like avoiding being who I am, and I'm avoiding like meeting myself really. Was kind of like I love that quote. It's like God's kind of like always playing hide and seek, and we're always playing hide and seek with ourselves. And so it's like, how deep do you want to look? How much do you want to know? How deeply present can you be? And yeah, like for example, I knew that I needed to do time on all fruits, but you also have to get ready in your reality and your consciousness and your relationships to create space and time to do it. You know, I have some friends who are mothers of young children, and for them, I'm just like high raw is great, like a lot of hydrating juices, present time with the kids, like letting go of attachment to like how the roles of the parent and the kid, and more just presence and enjoyment of each other's company. Like that's kind of like my best advice for those kinds of people. And then for people who have more time and can create more space in their lives for juicing and for cleansing, you know, I would just say like even 1 or 2 days a week on juices is great, because at the end of the year, that's like either 52 days or 104 days that you did on liquids, you know, and or half the day on juices every day, and then you have like 2 meals in the later half of the day. So finding your balance. One of my friends, Ali, she was recommending to me early on too, is like just do what you can do consistently, because the body responds really well to consistency. And there are times in my journey where I was like all over the place, like you know, just from fruit to cook to raw gourmet. And you know, we all kind of know what we thrive well on, and it really is just like simple combinations, simple food, simple meals. And I've lately been seeing a lot of these people on YouTube who maybe they say like fail on a vegan diet or fail in plant-based, and it's like when we go to one extreme, we're always going to have to go to the other extreme to rebalance and find center. And so that center point is different for every person, and that's okay. And it's always going to be shifting a little bit, like what feels good. And so that's why the presence is so important. And like the body is like our guide and our map in a way through the reality. And until we can have a more clear body, it's always going to be getting pulled and pushed by old cravings, you know?
Right. I mean, I also realized, I mean, in my own experience, that the food consumption will also change depending on what your purpose is for maybe the next couple of months or years. So if you start to become more active, You know you have to go out. It seems that the food intake changes accordingly. Or if you need to just clean up and just meditate and become, I mean, so content in yourself that you can go out in the crowd and feel like I am content in myself. I don't care who's around me. I can hold my space no matter what. And I think it's a play, you know. So you said this so nicely. You said already when you felt that you need to implement this more, you got the message, you got clean enough to hear the message, the connection. Rebuild your connection, and now you're ready to go. But you now need the vehicle in order to thrive and bring this out as well. So I think it's all fun, you know. So I'm always enjoying how people receive it. And I think we need to look more, as you also say, to people they are doing it and they have success in the sense that they will connect instead of going for mental, you have to do from A to B, right? So then we are just on the physical plane again. We forget the rest in a sense. And I have to say for Caileigh, there was really a challenge. I have been looking at your eyes. I said that on the last video. And there had been a lot of potential she could have gone into, and she chose not to. So, I mean, eyes are showing potentials, doesn't mean this will happen, but she felt it, and the information given to her reinforced her to just go the right route for her to thrive the most, that she can bring that light, what she, spells out, that she really can share that. I am so in love with it. I'm so happy and thankful. And I hope we have more interviews and see and watch how she's doing. Okay, Caileigh, maybe you have something what you would like to, at the end to share spiritual-wise. What comes to you and wants to be spoken?
Yeah, the most profound thing to me is like, once we clear away all of the thought, all of the feeling, and we can just be with ourselves in the moment, like that is really what we're here to do, is just feel and experience. And I'm someone who's been very much lived out of this place for a lot of life. And so I'm still working on bringing back to the heart and having more deep feeling. And I think from this place of deep feeling is where we create from, and where we can create even more beauty than we ever knew imaginable. And so it's almost like we are our own greatest gift that we get to keep unwrapping and unwrapping. And so my best advice is really like, take a high level perspective of your life just for like one moment, and just look at your patterns. Notice how you spend your time. Notice how you spend your energy. And then just without judgment, think about how you would like to spend your time and spend your energy. And then begin making those subtle adjustments, almost like you have the controllers in a control room, and you can turn yourself a little less time social media, a little more time in nature, like, you know, make those adjustments. And then from there, like, life will start to change. You know, life isn't going to, there's no one coming to save you. You know, God, the universe is always trying to communicate to us through other people, through animals, through energy, just through the sound current, through light, like countless ways. Love is what's real. Love is what's always trying to get our attention and take us away from this lower dimensional experience. And so open yourself to that love, open yourself to that possibility that what you think you know isn't everything. It's not the whole picture. And that's when we can begin to heal, because we can see that, wow, my eczema was related to this and this and this. And now I understand why it was there in my experience. I can accept it. I can love it. I can feel it. And I can also allow it to leave, because I'm willing to feel it. And so instead of being in a hyper reactive state of, this is wrong, like this shouldn't be, I can't accept anything. When we're in a state of rejection, it's like everything gets pushed away. We make ourselves really small. Our consciousness becomes really small. And we don't have that expanded ability to love and to be present. And so that's really, really important, is just as much as possible, practice inhaling, expanding your field, expanding your energy, and just accepting what is, while also knowing that what's coming is so amazing and so beautiful and beyond what we can conceive right now. Like it's gonna be just so amazing, and we create the future right now. Like we also heal the past right now, and so don't spend your consciousness anywhere else. Just bring it back to here. The definitely, I will add on the biggest benefit I think I noticed coming out of the juicing is like I can be very deeply present in a way that I couldn't be before, because there were things, I guess there was gunk in my body that was clogging the system. We really are like a beautiful pipe system. And for flow to happen, we have to move, we have to honor it, we have to hydrate with fresh fruits and juices, and we also have to clear out the old waste. And you know, the more we react to the old leaving, the more painful an experience we can create, or we can just take the high level perspective and love it and try to understand what happened and learn from it and let it go. You know, I had a dream, I think it was during the juicing, but it was like of a master sitting in front of me, and he put his hands in front of mine, on top of mine, and he said like, it's time to let go of your family's karma. And my hands were here, and it was like all of this energy was being sucked up into his hands, like he was like taking it all off, and so cool. And in this, after the dream, it was like I could see how I can either choose to keep recreating these patterns that my family has and that I was grown up with. And you know, we have this huge job, like we're born into like a really old paradigm. Like even the transition in the 26 years of my life, it's been a huge change, like from this very much more conservative way of living. You know, you work maybe 1 or 2 jobs the rest of your life, you go to college, you're like very set plan, you marry one person, you have kids, like things very ordered, to this like expansion of possibility of, you know, for example, people like me living in Costa Rica, Simone having this beautiful home that you've designed. Like what's possible is now so much more expanded than what we grew up thinking was possible. And so like we have to find those old programs inside of our consciousness that say, no, you can't. And then you have to reprogram yourself literally with your awareness and say, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Because so much of what we think is just old garbage. It's not real. It never was. And it's just like an old picture. A picture it's just an old memory. It's not really real. You know, it's just like this piece of this thing, but it's not happening right now, you know? So all we can do is say, how do I want to live? If I'm not living that way, let me reprogram myself so I can better create. Like, I think that's what this whole journey is about, just being a better creator, being a more aware creator, and creating from love, creating things that generate more life. Because I see that as I choose life, I choose love, I'm given more resources to play with, I'm given more support. You know, the right people come at the right time, because what I'm working on creating, it can benefit more than just me. It benefits many more people. And you know, I've had to trust the timing of that. There's been times in my journey where I'm like, I want to be healed already, or I want to be this already. And that was very much in resistance. Like, you know, like there's a lot of people I see in the detox community, like, I just want to like go out and help people, but they haven't even like done much of the work yet. It's a really, really common thing. And if you guys are watching this and feel that way, it's totally normal, because it's in a way wanting to just like postpone your actual work to just focus on something else.
I love that. When you said that, it's because of, there's so many people, they are looking for who's the right person for me. I think you listen to the person deeply. You need to look for interviews or whatever where people can talk, and you will know. Everyone knows who will be able to help them at any given moment. And nobody is wrong in the place, right? So there's just maybe for certain functions you want to go into or you want to be skilled about, there are people available, and you just need to be open and flexible and move your into and be okay where you are. I mean, F the world, right? So discover your own world, and I mean, you did a wonderful job in that way. So I'm so thrilled to see that. I am so thrilled. One more thing. I know that people will resonate with you because there's a very strong truth coming through. So, I mean, you did the hardest work. And so, by the way, physically, if you feel like, oh, where's my body, you know, so you're very, very strong internally. It will reflect in the outside. I wouldn't even worry so much, right? You're very strong. And people probably want to connect with you. What's the easiest or best way to get a hold of you?
Our website is givejoyachance.com. So give joy a chance, like give peace a chance. And our email address is just givejoyachance@gmail.com. And then on Instagram, we're also at givejoyachance. So it's very easy. And so that's the best way to be in touch. And we offer, Brian, my husband, and I have created a detox mastery program. That's a 12-week program to take people through every level of healing, so that people can really do the right things in the right order. That's been very important to us, is, you know, giving the right information in the right time so that people aren't thinking about adding in herbs right at the beginning when they just kind of need to master the lifestyle. So we're working with people, like taking them step by step through the healing journey, and then, you know, into the emotions as well. And we also work with our members of the Mastery Academy one-on-one and coaching sessions, and really help them awaken and hydrate and ignite their passion for healing and meeting the, you know, the greatest version of themselves, which lies within. So that's what our work is focused on. And then we also give Marconics energy sessions. This is like a quantum energy that helps to recalibrate the energetic field, and people basically shed a lot of karmic debris, a lot of old patterns through this fifth dimensional and higher energy. So we have a tab on our website also called Marconics, so people can just click there and read about it. And we do remote sessions as well as in person. So, you know, we have clients all over the world who are receiving the energy and have massive kind of quantum shifts in their lifestyle. And that energy has also really helped me on my personal journey. So that's why we like to share it.
Okay, beautiful one. So we wish that and as many as possible people find you and contact and try it out, test it out, and just go with what they feel is right. So Caileigh and Brian as well. So many, many regards to all of you, and make the best out of it and show up as strong as you are, stay present as you are, as so more people can find you. Love you so much. See you soon.